Control is rarely about power. On the surface, it looks like dominance. Rules, expectations, pressure. But psychologically, control is something else entirely. It's the fear of being reshaped. The fear of losing access to the part of yourself that keeps you grounded. The fear that once you give in, you won't recognize who you become. Every zodiac sign fears control, but not for the same reason. Each sign is protecting something vital, something invisible, something deeply personal. When you understand what they're protecting, their reactions stop looking dramatic and start looking human. You are now watching AstroMind. Aries fears control because it interferes with instinct. At their core, Aries is driven by impulse, action, and self-directed motion. Psychologically, they experience life through doing, not waiting. Control feels like hesitation forced upon them, like someone grabbing their arm mid-movement and saying, "Not yet." What Aries hears in control is not guidance, it's doubt, a message that their judgment can't be trusted. So they resist quickly, sometimes aggressively, not to dominate but to reclaim momentum. Without autonomy, Aries feels disconnected from their sense of self. Taurus fears control because it threatens emotional and physical stability. Taurus builds safety slowly, through routine, familiarity, predictability. Psychologically, sudden pressure activates anxiety around loss of comfort, loss of control over environment, loss of inner calm. When forced, Taurus doesn't explode. They freeze. Control feels like being rushed through something sacred, like someone trying to move their roots before the ground is ready. Resistance isn't stubbornness here. It's self-preservation. Gemini fears control because it restricts mental freedom. Gemini lives in the realm of thought, curiosity, and perspective. They need movement in the mind the way others need oxygen. Control feels like mental confinement. Rules that limit conversation, expression, or exploration feel suffocating. Psychologically, Gemini equates control with boredom, and boredom with death of curiosity. So they evade, they deflect, they shift conversations, they disappear, not because they don't care, but because their mind refuses captivity. Cancer fears control because it compromises emotional safety. Cancer's awareness is inward. They feel before they think. They sense before they speak. Control feels invasive, like emotional exposure without consent, like being forced to open a door they weren't ready to unlock. Psychologically, Cancer associates control with emotional overwhelm, so they retreat. Silence becomes protection. Distance becomes safety. They aren't manipulating, they're shielding something tender. Leo fears control because it diminishes self-worth. Leo needs to feel respected, not praised endlessly, but recognized. Seen as capable, seen as sovereign, control feels like being reduced, like someone questioning their right to shine. Psychologically, being controlled triggers shame and anger simultaneously. It feels personal, not procedural. This is why Leo resists authority that lacks warmth or respect. They don't reject structure. They reject humiliation. Virgo fears control because it disrupts internal coherence. Virgo already lives under pressure, most of it self-imposed. They manage anxiety through order, precision, and improvement. External control introduces chaos into a carefully balanced system. Psychologically, Virgo fears being overwhelmed by expectations they didn't design. They won't fight loudly. They'll internalize, overanalyze, self-correct. Control doesn't provoke rebellion in Virgo. It provokes quiet collapse. Libra fears control because it removes agency from relationship. Libra's psychology revolves around fairness and mutual agreement. They need to feel that decisions are shared, not imposed. Control feels unjust, like imbalance forced into a system meant to be equal. Rather than confront directly, Libra often disengages emotionally. They comply on the surface while disconnecting internally. Harmony can't exist under coercion. Scorpio fears control because it equals vulnerability without trust. Scorpio understands power intuitively, emotional, psychological, relational. They know what happens when power is misused. Control feels like exposure, like being seen too deeply before safety is established. Psychologically, Scorpio fears losing command over their inner world. So they resist strategically. They test. They withdraw, not to dominate, but to avoid being owned. Sagittarius fears control because it limits meaning. Sagittarius is future-oriented. They need movement, growth, and philosophical space. Control feels like being confined to a smaller version of life. Psychologically, stagnation equals despair for Sagittarius. They rebel not against rules, but against limitation of possibility. Take away expansion, and they lose interest entirely. Capricorn fears control because it undermines earned authority. Capricorn respects structure when it's logical, when it's functional, when it rewards effort. Being controlled by incompetence feels deeply invalidating. Psychologically, Capricorn equates control with wasted potential. They comply outwardly while building independence quietly. Their resistance is strategic, not emotional. Aquarius fears control because it threatens ideological freedom. Aquarius experiences control as mental imprisonment. They need sovereignty over thought, belief, and identity. Psychologically, being told how to think is intolerable. So they detach, not because they don't feel, but because freedom of mind is sacred to them. Control makes them disappear. Pisces fears control because it overwhelms emotional boundaries. Pisces is deeply sensitive to tone, energy, and atmosphere. Control feels loud, confusing, overstimulating. Psychologically, they fear emotional fragmentation. So they escape into imagination, spirituality, or silence. Not weakness, protection. Here's the truth beneath all of this. Control doesn't scare us because we crave dominance. It scares us because it threatens the part of us that keeps us whole. Freedom, safety, dignity, meaning. When you understand this, astrology stops being prediction. It becomes pattern recognition. Human behavior mapped through symbols. A way to understand, not judge. This is where psychology and astrology stop arguing and start explaining. You have been listening to AstroMind. And next, we go even deeper